All right. Hello. Okay, well, we ran out of Advent topics, so I think we're going to spend the first part of the year just looking at cool things that Jesus said. Because Jesus said a lot of really cool things. And they're cool, but sometimes they're challenging. They're not always what we want to hear necessarily in terms of the world views that we have formed, but they're still cool because Jesus said them. So we're going to look at that. This week we're doing old and new because tomorrow's new. It's New Year's. So it's a time to look back. Auld Lang Syne means something like that, right? And so we're just going to take a moment to think about old and new. And but first, a little commercial about the word potential. And potential is simply having the capacity to develop into something. It means that you're here, and there's a place called there, and you're trying to get there. And sometimes you have the potential to reach that, and sometimes you don't have the potential to reach that. I wanted to dance and be a model. Just don't have the. Someone told me I didn't have the potential to do that, so that was a bummer. I could show you. No. Everything that Jesus will say to us is loaded with potential. The one thing Jesus doesn't want ever for anybody is to stay where he meets you. That's just not his goal. The assumption always being that we live in a fallen world. The assumption is that Genesis 1 and 3 was correct. That somewhere along the line, human nature got corrupted. And I think if we watch the world play out now, especially in terms of decision makers and money handlers, that we can tell that there's something going on that's probably not beneficial to the whole world, to people. And so when we read the cool things that Jesus said, what we remember is that he's not telling us that we're good. You guys are all good. Just keep doing exactly what you're doing right now. You're the one person I found that, wow, I didn't even really need to die for you. You got it going on. And so you have to remember when you go into a relationship and a conversation with Jesus, he's assuming that you understand that he's God and you're not. And so potential is a big thing. This is potential right here. Something might happen. I got cord leads somewhere and, hey, look, it fits. Maybe nothing's going to happen like this. And like it was with prayer, when the curtain was torn, there was no way for us to get to God's throne. There was no way for us to speak directly to God. But now there's potential. Now there's potential for that to happen. You can pray directly to God. It doesn't have to stay in this state forever. Plug, outlet, wow. I can do amazing things. I have an amazing potential to foster and grow and understand at a deeper level my relationship with God. Bang. That's why we're all here, right? Is to learn about Jesus. Here's somebody that she's talking about potential. This is Gloria Steinem. And I know she's known for a bunch of things, but this is one of her favorite quotes, popular. She says, by the year 2000, we will, I hope, raise our children to believe in human potential and not God. This is how she felt. This is what she said. And I applaud her for understanding how the world works. That there is two plugs, as it were. The easy way to tell is human potential leads to pride. Using God and how he wants you to live in his spirit leads to thankfulness. Those are the two things. The same things can be accomplished, but she understood that there was human potential and there was God's potential, and they weren't the same thing. And so I applaud her for her honesty, and I applaud her for her truth, speaking in terms of potential. Jesus had the same thing, but it was backwards. By the year 2000, we will I hope, raise our children to believe in God and not human potential, is how Jesus would put it. Believe in me and have faith in me. But you know what? Ever since Adam and Eve, I think we've only had faith in ourselves. And so that's our go-to thing. So now we're back. We're back from the commercial. Welcome back, everybody. And now we're going to talk about a cool thing that Jesus said. And this was it. He was in an argument about washing hands and the Sabbath and just every little thing you could imagine that they were after him for. He was arguing about. And so this one was eating with criminals and sinners and all that stuff. And he gave this illustration. He gave a couple. I wrote it on your sheet. But this one was cool. It said, Jesus said, you know what? They couldn't understand why he was doing what he was doing. And he said, no one puts new wine into old wineskins, for the new wine would burst the old wineskins, spilling the wine and ruining the skins. New wine must be stored in new wineskins, which I have no clue what that means, because I always drank wine out of a bottle. I didn't even pour it in a glass. It's like, give me some more of that Strawberry Hill. And I stopped drinking wine when I was young, please. That stuff is nasty. But somehow, I guess, back in the day, they had wine skins. And what would happen was, as you would put wine into your wineskin, and it fermented, and it grew, and it got old, and there was all kinds of processes working on the bag, old, to the point where if you depleted your wine supply and you wanted to put new wine back into it, if you would put new, fresh wine into it, it would destroy the bag. Because the bag had already been through it, gone through this, been there, done that, can't hold on to this any longer. And so he was saying, this is obvious. There's in there too, he talks about cloth and how you wouldn't sew a patch of new cloth onto an old garment because it would shrink and tear and rip and double ruin it. You know, just the thought of not acknowledging that something is new and trying to keep doing things the old way. And I think it harkens back to the definition of insanity that we all know. You keep trying to do the same thing. You want a certain result, but you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, thinking that you're going to get different results. And that's what pouring it is. And Jesus isn't talking about wine, obviously, because who cares? He's talking about John 4. He wants you to be in a relationship with him. He wants you to grow deeper in your understanding of who you are and what your true identity is. That's his goal. In John 4, it says he was talking to the lady by the well. He said, the time has arrived when people will no longer worship God in a temple on a mountain. And he said to the lady, it doesn't matter if you worship him on that, in Jerusalem or over here on this mountain. It just doesn't matter. For God is spirit. So those who worship him must worship in spirit and in truth. The Father is looking for those who will worship him that way. And what he's saying, why he said that to the Pharisees, and what it has to do with wine and old and new, is game's over with the temples. Game's over with worrying about whether you're in Jerusalem or this. It doesn't matter. The Spirit is able to encompass the whole land. You don't have to go to a temple that's with a Holy of Holies with a curtain that you can't get by. Only one person can go in as your representative. Those times are over. I have come. I have fulfilled the law. Didn't say the law disappeared. He fulfilled it. It was done. And that's what it says in Galatians. The time of the law was only until Jesus showed up. And so they were having a hard time understanding why he wasn't following their law. Because they had everything they needed. Spirit and truth. That's the new way. That's the permanent way. And they don't fit into, or no potential is here for growth. No potential is here in these things, components, for growth. It's not the plug. You know, your wire's there, You're trying to find a plug, and it's churches and temples, etc., that are made by human hands. That is Acts. It's exactly what it says. You see, what happens is that people are important, and the church is a building that houses us, but what it turns into is the church becomes more important, the building becomes more important, and we just use the people to make the church more important, make the building more important. It's not, we don't need to meet here. We don't need to meet in a building at all if it's a nice day. I prefer a shelter when it's raining, I'm not going to lie. We don't have to meet in a building. There's just absolutely not one place in the Bible that commands you to meet in a building. It says gather. Don't give up gathering together. Whether it's in a house, on a picnic table, around a blanket, it just doesn't matter. And once you understand that, you're free to meet in a building and treat it the right way. Worship of buildings does not lead to any kind of growth. Ritual laws or commandments. Nothing there. Nothing there. As it says in 1 Corinthians 13, if you've kept every law and did everything and knew all knowledge and knew everything, but you didn't love others, you know nothing yet. You're elevating and value things that aren't valuable compared to people. That was new back then. We're 2,000 years in, so we know that now. We know that buildings aren't as valuable as people. We would never keep anybody out of our building for any reason. Unless they were coming to do harm to my kids, and then we got issues. Ritual laws, there's nothing you can do. There's no commandment. There's no commandment. You live by faith in Jesus. That is right. Do I have to tell you not to kill somebody? Do I have to? Do you not know that? Do I have to tell you that if someone's hungry, you give them food? Do I have to make a command to tell you that? Does there have to be a command that if someone is dying of thirst, that you should give them a drink of water? I mean, does that have to be codified? Made into law? No. I mean, it's pretty basic. It's pretty simple. It's hard to see because in our world, we let people starve. In our world, there are countries where every part of your life is micromanaged down to when you must pray and when you must eat and what you must say and what you must wear. And, that's just how it is, but it's not right. It's not right. Eating or drinking, ritualized. Observing religious festivals or Sabbaths, and I'm not making this up, read Colossians. Pious self-denial, strong devotion, severe bodily discipline. These are not energy in terms of spirit. These are not spirit and truth. And it's understanding the difference. Understanding that we live in a fallen world. If the headlines don't let you know that, then you got to re-examine. Or you don't believe Jesus, which is cool. That's your right. You don't have to. You can believe Gloria Steinem. I wish we could get back to human potential. Money, not a sign of any kind of blessing at all. Many, many, many verses in the Bible that say, woe to the rich people. Good luck to you. Good luck. In fact, your riches are going to speak against you on trial, is in James. You're going to have all the money, it's going to speak against you. As their first witness, they're going to call all the money you didn't use to help the poor. Accomplishment, clothes, jewelry, human praise. I think we all know these things. These are not spirit and truth. These are not. Spirit and truth does fit. Permanent potential will never end. Love God, love your neighbor. Never ends. Jesus said that was the biggest rule. What's the greatest commandment? Well, love God, love your neighbor. Everything else that you think about that's important rests on those two things. Because spirit and truth are there. That's why all of the ritual commandments and everything was wiped out. All of our time is spent trying to help each other. All of our innovations, all of our creativity, everything that we do is meant to help humanity. Right? I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Not in my life. Least one, at the bottom. But that's what it is. Love God, love your neighbor. New creation, new covenant, new heart, a renewed mind from Romans 12. Thinking like Jesus' attitude, Philippians 2. Thinking of others is more important than yourself. Knowing that God's taking care of you, so my acclamation of goods and prestige and name is useless. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control. Fruits of the Spirit. And meals. I had to put that in. Anybody want a quick PhD? Look at all the meals and all the significance of food and tables and dinners in the Bible and write about that. Roll out 70 pages on that and you'll get a PhD. It's amazing. How many times this story, new and old, is promoted by Jesus eating meals with scum. Is the word that they put in the Bible, depending on your translation. That's how important it was to have a meal. Giving a glass of water. Food is everywhere in the Bible. But there is a part I forgot to tell. I forgot to write in that little section that says Jesus gave this illustration. No one puts new wine, blah, 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 blah. At the end of it, he says, but no one who drinks the old wine seems to not want the new wine. The old is just fine, they say. I don't need no new fangled way of doing things. This is the number one killer of churches across our nation, of relationships across our nation, of your relationship with God across the world. The old is fine. In fact, we love the old. We don't care how many people don't come to our places of worship. We don't care how many people can't stand coming in here and only do it because they feel compelled to by tradition or they're going to hell. We just don't care. The old is fine. They have to learn how to do church our way. I don't want new wine. Old wine's better from what I know, isn't it? It ages, it matures. Who wants new wine? It's funny if you look at John 2, where the wedding, right, the Feast of Cana, where Jesus turned water into wine, the old wine was gone. There was no more wedding. There was no more celebration. They were just like partying on. Hey, where's the wine? Where's that feeling of accomplishment? Where's that identity and that feeling of value? Where's that feeling like I've done something good for God? It just is empty now, and I feel like I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over and over, and I feel empty. Where is that wine? And Jesus' mom was like, hey, this party's dying, dude. We need new wine. We need a new way to do things. And unfortunately, the new way usually rests with the young people, because the number one killer of new wine and vibrancy is habit. Number one. I don't like to change. After I got a cool way of doing things, shoot. Sunday night, me and Claire are going to Aldi's. She's going to shop. I'm going to pick up a giant coffee from Circle K across the street and just buzz myself out for Sunday night because I'm tired and I want to watch football highlights. Monday, I want to wake up and do the bus until 8. And then I want to do this. And, I'm the most addicted to a schedule at all. I hate change. And yet I know that's what I need. I know that's what I need. And when there are no rules per se of how do you do church? Well, you gather. That's it. You gather. So everything else is based on the love you have for each other and gathering. So where's the rules? How did it get... I go to Iowa. I'm sure I've told this story. I'm in the middle of Iowa driving across the country in a car. Driving, duh. And some dude, I'm in the middle of a small town dying away, and the guy pulls up in a car just bopping the bass out of his... dressed like a gangster. And I'm to myself, where did you learn in the middle of a farm town in Iowa to dress? I'm from L.A. Okay? I know the people that live this. What are you doing by yourself in the middle of Iowa trying to be like what's something you saw on TV? That empty identity, I want to say cistern, but I don't even know if anybody knows what a cistern is. That empty feeling where you source your identity, where you have to rely on the media to sell you what looks good, where you have to rely on the media to tell you how you're supposed to act, where you have to rely on other people in magazines and getting interviewed and spotlights to know how you act. You're just looking for new wine. It's your heart. It's your heart. It's the heart of the church. It's the heart of our gatherings. How far are you going to take it? How far are you going to take it? How far are you going to not bring Jesus into the mix? I stand at the door and knock. This kills everything. And I'm as guilty as anybody. The old's fine. What's wrong with those kids? What's wrong with them? We know how to do church. And I know we know how to do church because we do church exactly like the other 100 billion churches out there. And they went, wow, why are all the cathedrals in Europe empty? Well, it's those dang Muslims coming to town. No, it's not. It's because they weren't offering life. They were offering ritual. They were offering decorations. They were offering everything but life. We're going to teach you how to do this. Fail. Big fail. Big fail. And that's what Jesus said. And that's the way humanity is. John 1, 1 John, chapter 1. It's actually 3, I think. Light came into the world, but people loved the darkness. Darkness is fine, dude. I got a flashlight. I need your light. Love came into the world, and we didn't want it. Spirit and truth came into the world, but we prefer our way. We prefer our way. That's the human tendency. This is Numbers 13 and 14. The Hebrews, the Israelites, the Jewish people, slaves for 400 years. Horrible slavery. Miraculous, Moses comes, leads them out of... Egypt gets taken down, like one of the strongest empires ever. Taken down, get out of here, Hebrews. They leave, they come to the Red Sea, Pharaoh's chasing them. Oh, no problem, God, I'll open up a path in the Red Sea. You walk through on dry water, on dry land. Guess what happens? Egypt follows, army gone. They're taking over the rest of the history, right? In the wilderness, I'm going to lead you by a cloud and by fire. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to give you food. It's all good. I'm your God. You're my people. Trust me. Get to the edge of the promised land. Well, shoot, let's send some spies in and check it out. They bring back big things of fruit. The land is flowing with milk and honey. It's amazing, this land. I can't even tell you how great the fruit is there. Promise, this is amazing. God's there. Oh, but there were inhabitants. There were obstacles for us. Big, giant obstacles. And then they were like, 8 of the spies, or 10 spies, 8 of the spies said, there's no way we can do this. 2 of the spies are like, dude, God promised. We just came through the Red Sea. We've done all this. We can do this. And the Hebrews said, wouldn't it be better if we went back to Egypt? Slavery wasn't that bad. That's how humans think. Wasn't it? We really got to cling to our slavery. We really got to live in the past. It's way more comfortable. You know what? Yes, we were beaten. Yes, we were slaves, but we got 3 square meals a day. I had a place to sleep. We had kids. It was really, thinking back, that was really kind of a cool place. Because the thought of going and actually fighting and trying new things, and it's all dependent on me, not trusting God, that's way too abstract for me. I need my slavery. So I'm not going to try anything. I'm going to just let it die. Because it's more important to me that I get what I want rather than to venture off into the unknown. That's potential. The potential is there. Jesus said, I'll never leave you. You're my children. You're God's children. You've been adopted into his family. I will never, ever, ever leave you. There's nothing that can separate you from God's love, which is found in Jesus, except your fear, except your unwillingness to try, except you not acknowledging your potential. And it's not a potential for you, it's a potential to make God known, to make Jesus known. You have no pressure on you. It's not for you to become great. That's what's new. That's what's new. But the old, shoot. Having the capacity to develop into something and then not doing it. And I'm talking about following Jesus. I'm talking about knowing God. There's no, you could walk into the throne room any darn time you want, go straight up to God, ask him any question in the world. He wants you to grow. He does not want you to stay the way you are. That's potential. There's a plug and there's a socket. And it's just plugging in. awesome. Isn't that amazing? That's what he does for fun while he's studying other stuff. But imagine, what if he never played? What if he believed in, I have faith in the piano. I believe it makes noise. And I believe it can sound cool. And I have a desire to play. But I just don't know what to do. So I'm just going to sit there. Just going to sit there, and weird sheets are going to grow over me, and the ground is going to get dirty. That's some people's relationship with Jesus. You have the potential to sit at the piano and play. You're not asked to listen to the piano. You are asked to play the piano, metaphorically speaking. You're not asked to let other people have a relationship with Jesus and you think it's your good. You are asked to have your relationship with Jesus. Your potential is to make that decision to have a relationship with Jesus. Not with a church, not with the rituals, not with the building, not with the nothing. You have the potential to make the decision to go to Jesus. Or else it looks like that. It's just a beautiful piano unplayed. Just a beautiful piano unplayed. So, I'm inspired to sing Happy Trails. Until we meet again, next time I see you, 2024, have a good one. Happy New Year.